Shoot, I gotta get on my knees. Okay. Sorry about that. Phone died. But like I was saying, we're free now. We're liberated by my awful new suggestions. So, yeah, here we are. How has European colonialism shaped the political challenges and structure within the African continent? Neat. Alright, so let's look at Philip's awesome art, really. Once again, props to Philip. You're doing good. So let's look at this. This seems to be a good visualization of what colonization was. Except it was, I guess it was sort of ships sailing. I mean, like, it wasn't a long ride. It kind of just, whatever. It wasn't a super long ride to get to Africa. But, yeah, they show up, and, it's not super accurate. I mean, like, they both had spears towards the start of colonialism. Like I was saying, like, Africa was sort of at the peak of the early Industrial Revolution, like back in Rome times, but as you progress further, then yeah, you're going to see more guns like we get over here. So the two things that, you really see from colonization are a decrease in native culture and a decrease in the politics. You see a decrease in the culture because in order to rule effectively over a people, you sort of have to adopt, your lifestyle. That you have to force them to adopt your lifestyle, because if that's what you're familiar with, if you're not familiar with your people and how to govern them, then you're going to lose out. So, yeah, basically they sort of installed European culture into the African society, and it sort of remained there to this day. And you're also going to see a decrease in the, local politics. It's sort of just like the complicated political system down there of sort of like, there's a lot of stuff going on. Like, there were still remnants from like the really, get out of here. There were still remnants from like the old tribal past of Africa. And there, you sort of had like lots of different ruling bodies. But Africa sort of just adopted, whatever colonies they could pull into their own monarchies. So that sort of crippled Africa's ability to like have a stable government outside of Europe, and that's a big part of being, a colonizer, is making sure that the people that you're colonizing are dependent on you. So let's look at how they did this. They had, a lot better weaponry towards the end of it than the Africans did. I disagree with them using voodoo dolls as weapons, or maybe it's a mace, spinny mace, and a single arrow. Europeans definitely didn't have that kind of a gun. It wasn't this big of an imbalance, but I mean, you can sort of play it up for comedic effect. Yeah, okay. So they just had better weapons. Not much more to say about that. This shows, oh geez Louise. Okay, Philip, I've been complimenting your art so far, but like, this is not what I meant when I said their culture got adopted. Like, they knew how to build, like, they didn't all have straw roofs, okay? Like, they knew how bricks worked. They built the pyramids of Giza. It's not, okay, they knew how chimneys worked, at least. They're like, I'm dying of smoke inhalation inside my thatch-roofed hut. I better build a chimney, right? Nope, I can't until colonialization. Jeez Louise. As horribly misguided as this image is, it does capture something that happened, which is that colonization did superficially look like it was helping the African continents. And this is the stuff you'll see from, like, not this, but like this is the argument you'll see from, like, what the, look at this, I just found like this needle thing. That's terrifying. Can't wait to step on that later. Yeah, this is the argument you'll see from, like, sort of the weird neo-Nazi side of the internet, which is that, like, no, colonization is good for native people. See, look at this improvement. They went from this to this, and that's obviously better for them, right? And it's not, for the, they're not being able to pursue their own culture. They're sort of just stuck with whatever Europe can give them. And that forced Africa to be, less of a contributor in the world scene later. Yeah. And one of the ways that, they were able to effectively keep the people down was through the slave trade, the transatlantic slave trade specifically. It was the most efficient slave trade that the world has ever seen, taking slaves to America and to Europe, straight out of Africa, and there wasn't much they could do. Like I said, the new economic climate brought in by Europe sort of impoverished native people, so they did kind of have to start selling each other, which is horrible, but that's what it did, and it lowered the population, which meant a revolution was less likely to occur. Basically, the deck was stacked against Africa by the incredibly efficient colonizers that is the European Union. Let's move on from all the colonization history, which is really neat, but my projects have a tendency to drag on, I think. So let's talk about some recent events. There was a terrorist attack. Wow, this is cool. It was not a nuclear bomb, but it yikes. But it was scary. Apparently, I don't know if these are accurate numbers or not, but if they are, good job, Phil. Good researching. I don't remember if that's in the script. Let's check. Fact check. Ugh. Doing it live. Correct. These are the accurate numbers. This is apparently taking place in Nigeria, as you can tell by the clear Nigerian architecture. Yeah, there was a terrorist bombing, in a mosque in Mubi, Nigeria. Mubi. I shouldn't make fun of the places where terrorist attacks happen, so I won't. And ladies and gentlemen, we've hit midnight. Ding 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 ding. Boo boo boo. That is my unpreparedness in action. On a quick side note, the reason I do it late at night is, I feel like when I'm more tired, I'm able to let the thoughts throw freely. Sure. Everyone goes into a panic, and security increases, and people get very nervous and frightened after a terrorist threat. So people are going to just be higher security and higher panic. But honestly, that's sort of just the world we're living in now. And if you're not thinking about how you can make yourself more secure, then you're clearly putting yourself at risk. In other news, we watched it on CNN a few days ago. Child labor has recently been discovered to be very prevalent in the cobalt industry down in, is it Congo? Congo, haha. You gotta Congo. Yeah, get out of here, slave trade. I'm sorry, slave trade. I didn't mean that. Yeah. So, these are little tiny childs, which is weird. They have like the same build of adults, but they're just smaller. Normally you got your adult, right? And then you got, your kid who's just a little shorter, but same general features, right? But here it's just like, look at the difference. He comes up straight to crotch level. Whatever. This guy's clearly using his psychic eye powers to wield a riding crop. Honestly, that's impressive. If you can do that, you deserve to enforce child labor. There's the mine. Although I don't think it's actually a mine. Like you saw it, right? They're just picking rocks up off the ground. Yeah, child labor is obviously very bad, etc., etc. I feel like we've kind of talked about this in class enough, so yeah, there's that. That's a specific atomic number. Never mind. Okay, that's Africa. Sources. We'll compile a sources document in a little bit. It'll be there. So, sources. See document. Oh wait. Oh no, we did do sources. I think. If I'm correct, that's not impressive. there's a few things about colonization of Africa. We'll put in the CNN stuff and a link to the